Hello! Welcome. Thank you all for waiting. My name is Danicker. I am a speedrunner of the World's Hardest Game 1, 2, 3, and 4. And today I'm going to be speedrunning the World's Hardest Game 3 100% for you. So, let's get started. Time doesn't start yet. Okay, time will start in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so if you saw HS Blues run earlier, then you know the basics of this game. You have to collect all the yellow dots without touching the blue dots. The World's Hardest Game 3 has quite a few new features to it though, so the main thing you'll notice immediately is that the levels are made up of multiple rooms. So we're still in level 1 at the moment, but this is 1C2 that we're in. And the other thing is there's keys and doors, so you just saw me get 2 keys which have unlocked these doors, so that enables us to go up to these rooms here. Now coming up we've got a little piece of tech that I'm going to explain quickly, which is called the key clip. So when you collect a key that shows a cutscene, you actually are invincible for 10 frames just prior to that cutscene. So I'm going to try a very tricky key clip here. Oh, I think we got it. Yes, we got it first try. Fantastic. That's one of the hardest key clips in the game. So what I just did then was, because I was invincible, I was able to go into those enemies. And then I hit the checkpoint and died at the same time, which enabled me to respawn in the checkpoint and continue the rest of that. Okay, so for level 1, we've just got to finish up collecting the things in this room. The next thing I should say is that the other thing the World's Hardest Game 3 has is it has paints. That's what that green blob is there. A paint is an optional collectible that enables you to change the color of the player. And because we're running 100%, we have to get all of the collectibles, which includes all of the keys, all of the coins, and all of the paints. So now we are rolling in green, and that is the end of level 1. Level 1's quite short, level 2's reasonably short as well, and there's 5 levels in total. Levels 3, 4, and 5 will be a lot longer. While I'm in the green paint, I'm going to make a shout out to Jacob Meisner because green is his signature color. He is a fantastic runner of the World's Hardest Game 3, and he's actually the person who inspired me to speedrun this game about 2 years ago. When he posted a 1 hour and 2 minute run of the any percent category, and since then the game has come a long way. It's been a lot of fun speed running it. In level 2 here we are going to go over and get these keys on the left hand side. The key inside the checkpoint is just a shortcut so that you can get back without going through that bit again. And then we've got these 2 keys here, which are pretty important. This one here will unlock 8 coins for us in the room above. And this one over here is going to unlock the room above that, which is 2C1. So that's going to unlock that. And hopefully we can get back without dying. It's been a little while since we got a checkpoint. Nice, okay. So the next place we're going to head up is to that room, C1, which has the next paint. This is the blue paint. So there's 1 paint in each level. The level 1 has the green paint, level 2 has the blue paint. You'll see what the other colors are when we get there. But in order to get this paint, we have to navigate through this maze. If you're playing this casually, you'd probably go through here quite slowly, and there's lots of safe spots where you can just wait. But of course, for a speed run, we want to go through here as fast as we can, which can be challenging because the walls are made of enemies, so if you go too far or you don't align yourself properly, you will be dead pretty quickly. Okay, once we get that key, we've just got to get back to the blue paint, and we've got to wait a little bit here for these enemies. This game is based on cycles. Like, all the enemies are moving in predetermined cyclic patterns, so sometimes you have to wait for a cycle in order to get past, and understanding cycles and knowing routes to get through various cycles is basically the bread and butter of speedrunning this game. So we collect those 8 coins that we went past before, and now we've done everything on the right side of level 2. And so now we're going to head over to the left side, collect these coins and the other ones as well. Grab the checkpoint just for safety, since we have to wait here anyway. Oopsie. First death in level 2 is going to happen at some point. Oh, there's another one. Just got to wait here. Yeah, so as far as speedrunning this game and where the time loss and time gains is, it really is all about deaths. This is not one of those games where you can play the game without dying. This game is very hard, and my personal best is 33 deaths for the whole game, so we're only at 4 at the moment, so I'm sure that number will go up once we get to the harder levels. But yeah, so we will be dying, which means that as far as speedrunning goes, in order to get the fastest time, you have to die as little as possible and lose as little time to the deaths, because that's really where most of the time gain and loss happens. There is also time to be gained with different routing options, because you know, every room has, or most rooms have, multiple ways in which you can go through them, and there's fast ways and slow ways. But the biggest, most important thing is not dying, or dying as little as possible. Now we're almost done with level 2. This is the final room here. One thing I didn't mention before, which you might have noticed, is that the final checkpoint in every room, in every level, sorry, has a golden door in front of it, and that opens once you collect all the coins. So we've still got 6 coins over here to collect, and then that will open. There we go, and then we can proceed to the finish. That key we got in the bottom left is actually pretty useless, but we need to get it for 100%, so we need to get all the collectibles. And that's the end of level 2. Straight into level 3. Once we get into the later levels, there tends to be more, well, they're longer, they're bigger, they have more rooms, but also they have more backtracking. Because of the ways coins and keys work, sometimes you need to go to one side of a level to get a key, like we just did, and then go to the other side of the level to get another key, and then come back and then get another key, and then you sort of get thrown around all over the level, which means we have to go through these patterns many times. Okay, what you just saw then was I was going to collect those coins later, but then I accidentally died, and when you die in a checkpoint that has coins, then it just collects them for you, so it's not really what I was intending to happen, but it doesn't really matter either. Okay, I'm not surprised I'm dying here because it is pretty close, but there we go. Now this room here, I suspect you're intended to go in between these bars, but a lot of the time it's easier and faster just to go over them. I will go in between them sometimes, but as much as possible I try to just go over them because it's easy and it's quick. Now that key, that's what I was saying earlier, that key is now unlocked something on the other side of the level. So after coming all this way, we are going to be thrown over to the top left of level 3 into A1. Level 3 has like a 3x3 room structure, so it's got 3 columns and 3 rows. So A1 is in the very top left corner. So we're going to go back through all of these places we already went and head into A1, which is going to have 2 important keys that will then send us to 2 further rooms, and also a bunch of coins that we need to collect. This room is really cool because it's got, like, I just really like the pattern of all the enemies here. It's pretty hectic, but I've got a route that can go through it very reliably. Most of what you see me do in this speedrun is very carefully rehearsed movements. Because this game has no RNG or anything that's unexpected, all of the enemies follow the same path every single time. then everything I do is completely rehearsed, and it's exactly the same every single time. For most of the rooms, there are a couple of spots like the room I'm about to go into where that is not the case. This room here, I still have a pretty decent idea of where I need to be and when I need to be there, but it changes slightly from run to run depending on how adventurous I'm feeling. But ultimately, it doesn't really save or lose any time, because when I get to the end of this segment, I'm going to be forced to wait for a cycle. So if I go through a bit more quickly or a bit more slowly, it will all get evened out when I wait for this cycle that's coming up here. So I'm a bit early, I'm waiting for this enemy here, so I just need to wait here. Now, this bit in the middle is different from the top and bottom because this is where the enemies intersect. So that's why I'm making sure I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge of this corridor, so that when they intersect, I can avoid being hit. And just like that, I'm out of there. We're not safe yet, though, and we haven't gotten a checkpoint in a while, so this is the time to hope not to die. And we made it. Very nice. So this is our last time in A2. Next, we're heading over to C1, which is where that's the other room that we unlocked when we went into A1. First, we've got to go through B1, and this is a cool room. It's kind of got like two sections to it, as you can see. This left section is like classic World's First game, straight line enemies, but it also throws you a bit because it goes around corners, and that can be tricky. Okay, now here I'm going to squeeze between these enemies here very, very closely, and then I'm going to do a little key clip there. It doesn't really save much time, but it is a bit faster than the other way. But it really only just skims the enemies by the tiniest amount. Anyway, we are into C1, and this is a room where... Actually, I need to get this key down here. In this room, you basically need to get all of these keys on the outside, and then you can go and get the inside key. And once you get the key on the inside, that will unlock a room we're going to go to next, which is 3C3. But first, we need to get all of these. And there's just that one checkpoint in the bottom left, which means that I'm going to go and save there, even though I haven't got all the keys yet, because otherwise, if I die, it will lose quite a bit of time. The challenge with this room is transitioning between these oscillating enemies and the turning enemies in between, because their cycles are not synchronized, so it's different every time. And I'm on the wrong side. I was supposed to be come into the bottom. That's alright, because I need to get this key first before I can actually go in and get that key. And this pattern, these enemies in 2x2 blocks here are not too difficult because they actually travel at the same speed as the player. So if you just hold down the movement key, you'll be alright, as long as you get past the corners. Okay, just like that, we're done with C1. Very nice. And we're almost done with level 3. There's just one major challenge ahead of us, which is the room I was talking about, 3C3. 3C3 is one of the hardest rooms in the game, actually. It is an optional room. You don't need to do it in the any % route, but for 100% we do need to do it, and it's very difficult, but we'll see how we go. It could either take us 1 minute or 5 minutes, we shall see. First we need to get through C2. This is kind of a funky room. You've got these like big wheels turning around, and if you get caught in between them as they're merging or going apart, then you will definitely be dead. But because I know a route through there, it's not too difficult. Okay, this is C3. This is the room that has the yellow paint, which is actually one of my favorite colors in the whole game. But you have to work to get there. This is the hardest paint in the game, and the challenge is pretty obvious. You have to go through these corridors without touching the walls, but also you need to be fast because there's these enemies that push you through. So it's also a test of patience because you have to get these 5 keys in order to unlock the yellow paint, but you can't save in between. So you have to get them all at once in one go without dying. Okay, I'm going to concentrate for a minute here. Okay, I'm going to have to wait for a cycle. I need to be in front of this enemy, so I need to wait for it to come back. Wow, that's fantastic. We actually didn't die at all. Oh no, we did. We died once at the beginning. Very small death. That's a in fact, this level 3, I think this might be a world record. Because I've only had 1 death on the entire level, I'm pretty sure. Unless we like choke majorly, this might be a world record. You can check on the stream. My current world record is 8 minutes, and I think it's 8 minutes 40. Hang on, let me just actually finish the level before I start counting my chickens before they hatch. I expect that's probably a world record. I'm not sure, but that was a very good level 3. Okay, and now we're on to level 4. Oh boy, if I could get past this first. Level 4 is where things start to get a lot more difficult. You've got the purple color to indicate the increase in difficulty, and it is certainly justified. There's some really hard stuff in this level, as you'll see shortly, but this room here is not too bad, and neither is this one. Though I do need to make sure to be quick here. Sneak in front of that enemy. This is one of those levels where there's lots of backtracking, so the basic structure of this level is we need to go down to 4E5 in the bottom right to get a key, which will then unlock a room. We'll need to come back up to get to that room, and then we'll need to go back down to a different room, and then we'll have to come back up to finish. So we're going to be going up and down quite a bit. This room here is really cool. The way the circles and enemies interact makes for some really cool and challenging patterns. This is definitely one of the harder rooms in level 4 if you're playing it for the first time, but if you know a route through it, it's not too difficult. And this room is just straight enemy chaos, absolutely all over the place. And there's a lot of coins here. I'm going to collect the middle coins now, and I'll come back for the other ones later. This room is all about transitioning between moving around the wheels and then these oscillating bars. And that can be challenging, but it's not really the most challenging room in level 4. But if you die towards the end, you do lose a fair bit of time, so that's not ideal. Try that again. And the room we're coming up to, 4E5, is one of the, in my opinion, it's the second most difficult room in the entire game. So I might not be able to say too much while I'm concentrating on this. Okay, we got the key, but we still need to get back. Well, that's fantastic. 0 deaths on E5. Spectacular. Yeah, the challenge with that room is you have to make some reasonably tight maneuvers, but also you have to follow the circular paths of the enemies. But of course, the controls for this game are just up, right, left, down. So following a circular path is quite a challenge, and the result is you basically need to tap. You need to tap a lot of directions very quickly. And if you tap too far or too little in one direction, you will get hit by an enemy. But I'm really happy to get through that in 0 deaths. That's because, as I said, that's one of the most difficult rooms in the game. So the key that we got in that room has now unlocked 4D2, which is our next destination. I've got to head through here. We're going to be heading through this room 4 times, so I'm not going to get all the coins, but I'll try and get a few more of them. And if you might have noticed just then that I flashed the screen going down to a different room and then back. If you see me doing that, that's a pattern reset. What that does is when you change screens and reload the screen, the enemies will go back to the beginning of their pattern. And that's often helpful because if I have a rehearsed route through a particular cycle, and then the cycle changes for some reason, then I can do a pattern reset in order to get it back to the cycle I'm familiar with, without having to wait for a while. Now I'm just struggling to get this key. This is a bit of a difficult maneuver, but I should be able to get it. There it is. Yeah. The difficulty with that maneuver is you have to make an adjustment immediately after coming out of the cutscene, and so that's what makes that difficult. But that's the end of that room. I forgot to mention, although you probably noticed, that room is a clear throwback to the World's Hardest Game 1, level 30. So if you watched HS Blues run, you'll see what I mean. Although I think this version is easier because it's more spacious. It doesn't feel as cramped and claustrophobic as the World's Hardest Game 1 version does. Still some coins there, but we'll get those later. Okay, now the main event of level 4 is right around the corner. If you thought 4E5 was hard, this is harder because this is, in my opinion, the hardest room in the entire game. We're not even at level 5 yet, but this is tough stuff. The left and right are not too bad, but it's the middle that's really brutal. You need to inch your way along very precisely. Okay, that's the first section. Oh, how did that not count as a checkpoint? There we go. The tough thing about this room is there's not really anything you can do to make it easier. Like most of the rooms in this game, if you learn a route for them, then you can do the route pretty easily. And some of them have easy routes and some of them have hard routes. But you can do it reliably if you practice a specific set of movements. But this level here, or this room, there's no real options for different routes. There's only one way to do it. There's no shortcut. There's no easy way to do it. You just have to do it. You can get better at it with practice, but in my experience, I've put quite a bit of practice into this room and I still struggle with it a lot. That's why I find it the hardest room in the game. For a first-time player, it might not be the hardest, because other rooms might be harder, but as a speedrunner, once you've learned all of the rooms, this is the one room that still stands out as being very difficult. Okay, we've got the key, which is what we came here for. Now we need to make our way back. This part is one of the trickiest sections. Oh, so close. Okay, that took a little while, but we got through it. Yeah, that section is difficult, partly because you need to go the long way around, whereas the first time you go through there, it's actually a shorter path. But the main thing that makes that difficult in my experience is it's different psychologically because it's the last difficult section. That makes it more psychologically difficult in my experience. Anyway, we're done with B4 in not too bad a time. And now we just, oh man, let me just get these coins first. There we go, that's what I was trying to do, and then there's a pattern reset there. Okay, so we've pretty much done all the hard stuff in level 4. We just need to head over to the finish. So we head through this room for the final time, back over to the left where we started, and the key in B4 that we got has unlocked the door at the bottom left of this room. First we've got to get these coins though. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, this room can be difficult to speedrun because there are those stationary enemies like everywhere that prevent you from taking normal straight paths. So that means there's a lot of places you can die. Okay, and now we're into 4A2, and this is an interesting room. This is kind of like a memory puzzle, because you have to go through this kind of maze-like thing with these moving blocks. But sometimes they go backwards, like what I've just been doing here goes backwards, and so you do need to memorize that sequence. It's not too difficult to memorize, but that's kind of the idea behind this room. And I'm going to start explaining a technique that we're about to use. You can see the grey paint is in the middle of the room. Now normally you would have to, in order to get that, now I just need to change one of my settings. I'm going to open the menu and turn on speech bubbles. Normally, in order to get the grey paint, you would go up the middle of the room, but we're not going to do that. We're going to abuse a mechanic in this game, which is that when you finish the level, you become invincible until the next level loads. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, anyway, I can keep explaining what I was saying. When you finish the level, you become invincible until the next level begins. And if you have speech bubbles off, the time until the next level begins is 2 seconds. But if you have speech bubbles on, the time is 4 seconds. And that gives us enough time to actually go over and collect the grey paint and the key before level 5 begins. So I need to get through the rest of this maze first, and there's a couple of parts where it makes you go back, and then I have to go back again. Now, the reason why I turned speech bubbles on is because I haven't been playing with speech bubbles, because most of the time they're just annoying and they also lose time. So there you go, that's speech bubbles. Okay, and now we've got the grey paint, and we also collected the key, which is important because, again, all collectibles, we need to get all the paints and all the keys. So that saves a lot of time, because it takes about a minute if you want to actually get the paint. But by using that trick, you can get it in just 2 seconds extra time. Alright, level 5. Yeah, things start to get intense here, although not really any more intense than level 4. But you do have the red colour, which certainly signifies intensity. And this room, it certainly has a hectic feel to it. You have these fast turning rods, and they move at, like they turn around at 45-degree angles, which is like, you know, a bit unpredictable. But once you've got a route, like the route I'm using here is actually quite easy, because I know where I need to be and when. But that's a fun room. Now, first thing we need to do here is get this key, which will unlock a checkpoint. The coins, I'll come back for them later, so I'm not worrying about them, I'm just getting straight to the checkpoint. And then I need to get this key. And notice at the top of this room, there's a door on the top left and a door on the top right. That's where we need to go to next, but we need to unlock them first, so that's what we're going to do over here. This room is really unique. You have these like turning rods that also have enemies on the inside of them moving. It's like really crazy movement going on there. So here's one of the first keys we need. And the challenge of this room is it funnels you in to a very specific point in the center, which means that it's quite hard to get through the center. That being said, because I have a rehearsed route, I'm passing through the center at specific times when I know it's safe to do so. So that doesn't really cause a problem. Okay, we collect the last of the coins here because we're not going to that side again. And here, we're not going to get the coins yet, but we're going to get the key. And there's another key clip here, and this is actually... Oh, no, not if you kill yourself first. This is actually one of the original key clips. It was first used by... Oh, that might not make it. I think it might, though. Oh, I did, but then I went too far. I'm not doing a very good demonstration. Let me try again. Yeah, this was discovered by Kurab and Brad, who were the first people who I know of to speedrun this game. Kurab has a run dating from 2014, which is the year that this game was released, which was a time of 1 hour and 5 minutes for any percent, which is a very respectable time. But since then, the record has been lowered quite a bit. Okay, so now we're going to collect these coins, and you can see now we've unlocked the top 2 doors, so we're going to head up there, and this is actually one of the harder rooms in level 5. So first we have the moving maze, and this is quite challenging, especially when you're speedrunning, to move through quickly. And there's also another key clip just there. It doesn't save that much time because you can just go around, but it does save a little bit. Hopefully we can get through here without dying. Now, normally I would go straight ahead and get the coins as well, but for marathon safety, I'm going to come down here and save at the checkpoint, because this is one of the places where you can lose quite a lot of time if you die. Something you might notice about level 5 is that the checkpoints are much further apart in level 5 than the earlier levels. And what that means is that deaths can be very costly. There are some places where you can lose several minutes for a single death. So we try to avoid those, and one of the things I'm doing here for safety is getting that checkpoint in between. Yeah, the challenge of this part here is aligning yourself properly, and sometimes you have to make adjustments in the middle of your path. But we got both of those without any deaths, which is fantastic. And now we're going to do the right side. And this is like a completely different pattern, but I think it looks really cool. It's like swirling like wind or water or something. It can be quite difficult. Again, I'm going to go down and save for safety, even though I wouldn't usually. So we've got the left side, and then on the right side we've got to go and get this key. And I'll need to concentrate a little bit here. Another key clip. Yeah, that key clip is just a cheeky one. It saves like, I don't know, a second or two, but it just looks cool, basically. We still haven't got a checkpoint yet. We're not out of the woods. We collect those 4 coins there, but the other ones we're going to come back for later. And now we've got a checkpoint. Fantastic, no deaths in B3, that's very good. Okay, welcome to the upper area of level 5. First up we've got 5C2, which is this hectic room that I'm in right now. Try and make sure yeah. Almost died there, but we're good. So I collect most of the stuff on one pass, and then I come back through and get the other stuff. And first stop is to head up to C1. And the bottom part of this room is basically just like fast and frantic. You have to make a lot of movements very quickly in order to get these coins, because you need to move up to get them, but you need to move back up in order... Sorry, you need to move down to get them, but you need to move back up in order to be safe. And then that key unlocks a checkpoint here, which is very handy. And this section here is not so frantic. You could take it more slowly, but I'm going to try a hard speedrun route. This part's a little bit slower, but grab these. Okay, we missed that coin, but that's alright. And try not to die on the way back, because that's happened to me many times. Excellent, okay. Smooth so far. Onto D1. This is one of the hardest rooms in level 5. It's basically just lots of little precision challenges all of these some of them are tighter than others, and some of them are quite easy. But there's some of these maneuvers are very tight. This part here is not too bad, but we're about to come up to a tighter section. And yeah, you need to make all of these maneuvers precisely. Yeah, I just had to concentrate there because that's one of the hardest sections. And this room is kind of split into two sections. So right now I'm doing the right side, which unlocks the way to the level 5 paint, which you can see right there, which is it's a rainbow color. So that's pretty cool. It's an animated rainbow color. We'll be getting that soon, but first we need to, because you can see there's a whole bunch of coins that we still have to get. So first we need to go back through that room and get those coins. So if I was doing any percent, I would only be doing this part, because obviously you don't need the rainbow paint in any percent. But you do still need all the coins, because you always need all the coins to unlock the gold door at the end of the level. And you also need a lot of keys usually, because usually you need to get a lot of keys in order to unlock coins. Okay, this part here is quite difficult, but we'll see how we go. It's the same way I died last time. Oh, okay. That was just a bit of weirdness. This is actually not the... Well, it is hard, but this is not the hardest part. Okay, nice. Now we still don't have a checkpoint, but we should be fine to get one. We're not going to use this one up here, because we're going to go straight to the rainbow paint. Excellent. Yep, there's our checkpoint, and this is the rainbow paint. Welcome to the rainbow paint room. This is supposed to be like a mega difficult challenge, I think, because it's the final paint, but it's actually not very difficult. It's made up of 2 rooms, which is kind of cool. Like the bottom room and the top room. And you kind of have to go back and forth between them, which is a neat idea. And then in order to get through these rooms, you basically just need to know where the safe spots are at the right time, which can take a bit of practice, but it's not too difficult. Let me just do a pattern reset there. So for example, up here, this room in particular is, hang on, pattern reset again. This room in particular is big on safe spots. So I'm going to go from this red square to this red square to this white square to this red square to this white square to this white square, and then I can go all the way down. And then I'm going to kill myself, because when you collect a paint, it actually saves immediately, even if you don't get a checkpoint. So by just running into an enemy there, I've then gone straight back to the checkpoint immediately, and so that saves a lot of time, because you don't have to go back the way you came. So that's really handy. All right, now this is another case where there's kind of like 2 rooms that work together, D2 and D3. But in order to get to D3, we have to first get this key over here. This room is quite challenging for a number of reasons. One is you have to do a lot of stuff without any checkpoint. This is one of the rooms where you can lose several minutes if you die, because this is the coin room. Welcome to the coin room. And the reason why you can lose a lot of time is because it takes like about 40 seconds to pick all of this stuff up, or close to a minute. So, and that's not even including, it took us about a minute to get here anyway. Now this room is interesting because it looks like it's just a coin room, but it's actually not. There is a booby trap for unsuspecting players, but as a speedrunner we have a way around that, and what would be a better tool to use to avoid a trap than the key clip? Yeah, it's perfect. So that line of enemies is scheduled to come out after 33 seconds every single time. Like I said, nothing in this game is left to chance. So I've got a route, a specific order in which I collect the coins, so that I'm right next to the key when the line of enemies come. And conveniently, the key has a cutscene, which means I can use a key clip, and that is mostly just a flashy trick, but it also saves some time. The alternative would be to get half of the coins and then do a pattern reset and then get the other half of the coins, because a pattern reset would reset the 33-second timer, but a key clip is about 10 to 20 seconds faster. Okay, we are on the home stretch of level 5, which basically means we're on the whole home stretch of the whole run. We are heading back through these areas we've already been in, and we're heading up to 5A3, which is the final room of level 5. We have unlocked it with that key that we got in D3, and we've got to go through this maze one more time, but we only have to go through one way. Oh, I was just about to say it's not too difficult, and then I died, so I should probably keep my mouth shut. Let's try that again. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, I don't mind dying here a couple of times, because we got it deathless the first time, which I'm quite happy with. Again, this is another area where if you're playing this casually, you'd probably take that much slower. But as a speedrunner, you can't afford to waste that time. This is it. This is the Grey. Welcome to the Grey. This is where supposedly the hardest area in the game. But it's actually not. It is difficult though, it's very difficult, but it's not as hard as some of the other rooms we've been doing. And so once we get up here and collect these last coins, then that's pretty much it. Oh, except it's actually not, because we have to do all of this. Yeah, and there's no checkpoint. So, you know, imagine you're playing this for the first time. This really is quite an epic challenge, because even just getting through the first room without dying is an insane challenge. Getting through all of this as well is really difficult. But from a speedrunning perspective, like I said, even this room is not too difficult. Once you learn it and practice it, you can get through here reliably. But I could die, and if I did, that would lose a minute or two, but hopefully that doesn't happen. This part here, as you can see, is split up into 3 sections. So we've done the left and the middle, we just need to do the right side. The right side is easier than the others, but it can go wrong very easily if you're not patient. Patience is key here. So I've got to collect all these coins, and when I get the last coin, you'll notice that the coin door opens, which means we are really at the end. Truly, there are no more tricks now. And hopefully... Oh! Okay, there was something I didn't mention earlier when I said that there's no RNG in this game. There actually is one place, which is here, where there's a small chance that you actually get doomed to death. It's basically like a prank. So we have to do that again, basically. There's nothing I can do. These bars are just going to come and kill me, which is a shame because the finish is right up there. But yeah, there's a bit of a speech. I guess this is the end. Yeah, you know. Oh, except actually not. Yeah, no. This plays exactly the same every single time. The square comes up with some dialogue, some excuse about how he's his brother, and yeah, and then he says, "Oh well, that changes everything. Come hug me, brother." But of course, we don't do that. We go over here. Now we still need to wait to the end of this cutscene before time will come. So there's going to be a bit more cutscene. The other enemies come through, and they say, "Did you killed him, right? You killed him, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, of course." But I'll start. Actually, I'll just wait until this is done, so I get time properly. It's just a couple more seconds, and I'll give you a countdown. Okay, 3, 2, 1, time. Wow, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a host due to technical difficulties, but I really enjoyed doing this run for you all. Some quick shout outs, of course. Thank you to AusSpeedruns for hosting this event. Thank you to Stevie Krytov, who is the person who made this game, as well as the World's Game 1, 2, and 4. Thank you to HS Blue, who you just saw run World's Game 1, for moderating and running the Discord server. If you're interested in playing these games, you can play them for free. And if you join the Discord server, we can help you out how to set that up. Also, shout outs to Jacob Meisner again for being a fantastic runner of the World's Game 3, and also to Qrab and Brad for running this game in 2014. And if you enjoyed the run today, then you can check out other videos that I've got on YouTube, where I've got world record speedruns, live streams, and all sorts of other stuff. So, thanks very much. That's all from me. See you later.